Close to 100 is going to be homework this week. The students have made decks of cards, digit cards like the ones pictured here on the game board. So they should have a bag of those coming home or already at home. And I'll be sending home the recording sheets as well. The object of the game is to create two-digit numbers using the 6 cards that they draw from the deck and get as close to 100 as possible. The score is calculated by the distance from 100. So students need to be thinking about how are they going to use tens, how are they going to use ones. So some of the strategies we talk about in class are making 100 to start with. So they know that 5 tens plus 5 tens would be 10 tens or 100. But the problem with that is any cards that I use in my ones place are going to put me over 100. But in this case, it wouldn't be bad because 50 plus 51 is 101. And there are other ways to get closer to 100. Another strategy is to make 90 in the tens with 8 tens and 1 10, and then try to make my remaining 10 with my ones place. So those are the strategies we've been working on in class. To give them a visual and part of the homework, I've told them to use 2 crayons. Typically we use red to represent one color and blue to represent another color. To find the solution, we are not stacking these numbers on top of each other and then doing the traditional algorithm that we learned when we were in school. 5 and 5 is 10 and carry the 1, and then 8 plus 2 is another 10, so that would be 100. So we're not doing that yet. We're trying to build their skills in place value and adding based on place value. So that's why I have this blank 100 chart pictured here for them to kind of model their strategy or how they think about adding these two numbers together. So there's a couple different ways that we do this as well. So first we may do 8 tens. We may color in 8 tens. And if they're thinking about this being a sheet of 10 tens, then they need to leave 2 tens open and just color in the rest. So that's 8 tens plus the 1 blue 10 would be 80 plus 10 and give us 90. Then I would go back and do my 5 singles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red singles and my 5 blue singles to have 5 plus 5 and to get 10, to know 90 plus 10 equals 100. And that's another way that we kind of strategize to make a score of 100 by trying to use the empty space in the 100 chart to get our score as low as possible. So our score here would be 0. And what I mean by using the empty space is if they're picking their cards, choosing the cards that they want for their tens place, and they chose the 8 and the 1, they know that makes 90. And then let's say that they chose to put a 7 in the ones place. So I would be coloring in 7 red singles. The empty space on this one blank 100 chart is 3 singles, and I do not have a card that would help me to fill up that 100 chart. So I need to go back and rethink my ones place. Which cards would I use? Because the best score I could have would be to use my 0 in the ones place and have a score or have an answer of 97, but then a score of 3. Some other things you can do is you can keep the cards the same for each round and see if they can lower their score. look at their cards and don't give them the answer, but see if, for example, the kids did 50 plus 70 and it was 50 plus 71. Well, that's 121, and you know that, but they're going to be coloring in on their 100 chart the 5 red tens and the 7 blue tens, and they're going to realize, hey, I've filled that up way too much. Well, then you can have a conversation with them about what can I do to lower my score significantly, is to change out my tens. So you might want to keep the cards the same. You might want to put a wild card in there, or you might have them just get rid of all 6 cards and start all over with a new 6 cards. So the 6 that you use go into like a burn pile, and then you just get 6 more from the bag. So hopefully they'll have a deck of cards, a recording sheet, and you can play one player on one side of the recording sheet, and then the opponent, the parent, the brother or sister, whoever they play with, can play on the other side of the recording sheet. Any questions, please let me know.